Hi, this is Will with My Spiritual Clarity, and today's video is number 4 for the month of February, all about relationships, love. I've been happily married for 13 years, and I now work with 2 different couples, and I'm open for couples work. However, for a very long time, I've not worked with couples, but relationship stuff keeps coming up, and my clients keep asking me for some of my ideas on it, so I wanted to make these videos for you. So this fourth one is about something I call a magnetic plate. And it's this idea that I came up with many years ago. So I've been married 13 years, and this idea came up a long time ago. And the beginning of it started when I started to observe as a kid and a teenager the relationships around me, my mom and dad, other family members. And I would start to notice that as soon as one complaint got put on the table, so to speak, you know, he's a lazy, I'm just going to pick stereotypical, he's a lazy guy who never gets off the couch, or she's an overreactive, overly emotional partner, or he is so obsessed with, whatever it is. As soon as it gets on there, it has this magnetic power that draws to it the next complaint. And it works equally as powerful if you complain to someone else, complain to your partner, or complain in your head. It's almost identical power. So if I'm sitting here and I look and I see, I don't know, I'm in the kitchen, so I'll the dishes. My wife didn't do the dishes. She said she would do the dishes last night. I cooked. She should have done the dishes. So my wife and I have this divide where I do all the dishes and I clean the kitchen. She does the majority of the cooking. Now lately I've been doing about half the cooking. And I've hired someone else that I pay for through my business to make meals, so we have an extra 1 or 2 meals per week that's pre-made that we just get to have. So technically I'm doing more than my share. Now, if I want to keep that story and I want to keep that frame of mind that I'm doing more than my share, and I look over and I see, well, the dishes aren't done and I cooked the last 2 nights and I still had to do all the dishes, and I make up a story. My wife's lazy, or my wife doesn't care, or whatever story I make up in my head. If I let that story stick in my head, it has a magnetic power that will attract to it the next nasty complaint. We haven't had sex in 2 weeks or a month or whatever it is. I have had to initiate sex the last 2 months. Or I've been doing all the driving this week. Like, my mind will it has to come up with the next, because I've started a narrative. I've started a story about my wife that now must be fulfilled in my mind, where my wife is wrong and I am right. So what I noticed in all these relationships growing up is there were some couples that didn't have that. And I could see it play out in real time, where one partner would begin a complaint, and I could see them kind of get frustrated and start to fume. And then they would say something like, honey, I love you. And I had really hoped that you would do the dishes last night because I cooked. And I know we both have a lot going on, but it would make a big difference for me if you could do the dishes when I cook. Does that work for you? Can we talk about it? And the other partner would say whatever they would say. It would almost always go really well. So the trick is, don't even let the first one get on the plate. So I call it a magnetic plate, or it's a regular plate with a magnet in the middle of the plate. The second that first magnet plunks down in the middle of the plate, you wipe it clean. Which means if it's in your mind, you erase. And you assume positive intent. My wife didn't do the dishes. It was her turn. Well, I bet she's really exhausted and really busy. It does still bug me a little bit though, so I'm going to make a note. I'm going to talk to her later after dinner once the kids are in bed, before it's too late and it's time for bed. I'm going to make time, because I notice now I'm getting a little worked up about it. Or it's simply just erase. And trust that if you erase it enough time and it keeps coming up and you do get bugged, that you have the ability to speak up with love to your partner. Same thing as when you complain verbally out loud. It's the same thing. The first time I ever noticed that I called my wife a ball and chain in jest with some guy friends, it was just a silly joke. But the second that I said it, I could feel there was the first magnet. I had just plunked down the first magnet. And in that moment, I said, oh, guys, sorry, that was a stupid thing to say. My wife is not a ball and chain. I thought it'd be funny, but it wasn't. In that moment, I literally took it back. so that I can also train and teach the people in my life, my two close guy friends, that that's not how I speak about my wife. That even in jest and even in joking, that's not our relationship. That's not who we are. So if it's with someone else and that complaint comes out, you wipe the slate clean. You literally take it back. If it's in your head, you either cancel or you bring it up with your partner when it's appropriate. You don't bring it up right away. You don't email them or call them right away. You pick an appropriate time. So not during bedtime, not over dinner when the kids are right there and it could turn it. You pick the right time. So that's what I call the magnetic plate. And to me, that's one of the most important things I've ever done in my relationship to make sure that we continue to have a healthy relationship. So it's keeping my own plate clear. And also for me as the partner of my wife, that if I ever notice there are things on her plate, because my wife is generally very expressive, but not as expressive as me. So she will mull on things for a little while. So it's up to me to be a little bit intuitive, not a mind reader, but a little bit intuitive to say, honey, I feel there's something going on. Do you want to talk about it? And now that's usually all she needs to say. You know what? There's actually 1, 2, 3 that's been on my mind. And I'll go, okay, let's figure this out. Talk about it. Don't just let the magnets, because once there's 1, 2, 3, if you ever get to 3, you're cooked. You're done. It's so hard to come back from that. You can, but it's so much extra work. So much work. But if you can get the 1 before the next one comes, you have an easy life. Now, it's hard in the moment because you got to speak up in the moment, but your life will be so much better, I promise. That's what I got for you today. Have an amazing day. Do like or subscribe down below if you want to see more, and I hope to see you soon. Have a great day. Bye-bye.